Crolister, the Master Opponent. Hi guys, in this video I'm going to do another Namco Museum showcase where I play every game in Namco Museum Nintendo Switch. There will be 11 games in total, so here we go. Alright, so I got Namco Museum on the Nintendo Switch on the console's first year. And I was a bit disappointed that it only had 11 games, 10 of which are actual arcade games. Because after having bigger compilations like the one on the Xbox 360, to come out with more. And alas, they only give us 10 arcade hits. So, whatever, Namco. At least later on we got Arcade Archives, which, would eventually do Namco, and now they have nearly 70 of their games available on their lineup. They're even doing some of the non-COT games on the NES or Famicom, which would apparently have got arcade renditions. Speaking of which, as of this recording, after I made my Namco tier list video, the next non-COT game to come to Arcade Archives is going to be The Quest of Kai, which is a Famicom game that is linked to the Tower of Druaga. So, that sounds interesting. And after watching the trailer, the game also looks a bit less complicated than its predecessors, Tower of Druaga and Return of Ishtar. So, I'll check it out, probably. Now, this is a showcase long play of Namco Museum, meaning I'm only going to play every game in the set for a little bit, before I move on to the next one. So I'm only going to play like a couple of stages in each game before I move on to the next. So, just to be clear, just like I did with the Namco Museum Archives showcase. I will be doing this with the Namco arcade games that are in Arcade Archives that are not in Namco Museum Switch as well. You can expect that video to be close to 3 hours, just so you know. And maybe I'll do similar videos with Pac-Man Museum Plus and the other Namco Museum Archives up ahead. So. As a casual player, I focus more on survival than top score, playing these games. So, I do appreciate that in the Switch Namco Museum, the arcade games are actually to scale compared to the original arcade versions. The earliest compilations on like the Sony PlayStation and stuff had to be scaled down because of hardware limitations. Like, the music in Pac-Man and a lot of the other games as well, Galaga even, has been scaled down a bit in the PlayStation sets in the earlier Namco Museums. That was because of hardware limitations on older game consoles back in the day. The Switch being a much more capable console, I'm too used to Arcade Archives. You know. Alright, so now we're playing Galaga. Besides Pac-Man, Galaga is definitely that other arcade game by this company you would expect people to reference, talking about their games and how great they are. So, yeah. One of my birthday presents that I got last Sunday from this recording, my 30th birthday, was a My Arcade Pro player for Galaga, which actually plays the original arcade version instead of the crappy NES version, like the original arcade cabinet My Arcade player did. Plus, it also has Galaxian. So, that was a nice little present. So, some of my other presents that I got for my birthday, I got some money in currency and in Nintendo eShop cards. I need to rack up my money in my wallet so I have enough to be able to buy the Switch successor once that console comes out. All indications are that it'll come out in January. It will be announced, in January at the soonest. There's no hope for it to be announced by December. Yes! Perfect challenging stage. Master of Punch. I think I'll do one more stage in this game. However, Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa did talk about the Switch successor more recently, affirming that it will be announced by the end of the fiscal year, which is actually in March. And like I said, it's probably going to be announced at the soonest in January. Because, do companies typically announce significant updates for their products in December? No. And for obvious reasons. Shintaro Furukawa confirmed that the Switch successor will have backwards compatibility with the current Switch, meaning you'll be able to play the Switch's games on the successor, like how you could play GameCube games on the Wii, and how you can play previous PlayStation games on the later PlayStation systems. That'll be fantastic, because anybody that wants the new console that has a lot of games on their current Switch will be able to play all those games on it. And for all we know, there might secretly be data in some of the games that'll make the games look even nicer on the console, on the successor. It was also confirmed that your Nintendo accounts will be compatible with it as well, and you can carry over your save data. Unfortunately, my family's rotten luck, my original information that I used on my original Nintendo Switch account got lost somehow, and we can't log back in. I can use it on my Switch still, it's just we can't access our email on our computer and stuff. So I'm gonna have to create a new Nintendo account with my actual Google account that I made to start my YouTube and DeviantArt channels. For a new Nintendo account once I get the successor. And that'll be alright with some of the games that I have, like Spyro. I can make up the data in that in a heartbeat. Mega Man 11, I can do that easily. It's just I'm not going to have any will to play any of the bigger games like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Especially if they're making a new Smash on the successor anyway, which I'm sure they will. Sakurai did kind of hint that a little bit. And the game that he has in development, that Puka's just gonna have to run away, so be it. The game that he teased was going to be in development, that he started after Sora was completed for Smash Ultimate, could actually be a reboot of a randomly selected Nintendo classic instead, like he did with Kid Icarus. So, you just have to wait and see, huh? Nintendo's unpredictable. And for cripe's sake, if any of you guys get selected to do the playtest program, keep what is in it to yourself and do not even think about speaking a word of it on the internet. Because Nintendo is going to absolutely destroy you if you do. You know what they're like. Alright, so that was a brief gameplay moment of Dig Dug. Now we're doing the Tower of Druaga. The Tower of Druaga on the Switch and the DS has a game guide you can view that explains how to find the treasure chest in every floor. You can display that while playing the game by pressing Y. So, you know. I do like the comic that they made for the Tower of Druaga for the promotional art that you can see on one of the wallpapers in this compilation. I also like how the entire comic is in English, even though the game was a Japan-only release until Namco Museum 3 on the PlayStation. Weird. So, yeah. I'm gonna have to have the Will-O-Wisp spurt happen because of how slow Gil is without the jet boots. The first stage of this game is no fun. Am I ever gonna attempt a no jet boots clear of this game? Probably not, because I hate moving slow. Just so you're aware. Plus, not having jet boots makes certain enemies, like wizards and stuff like that, relatively annoying, more so than they already are. So... Alright, let's take care of this problem right now. That's better. Much better. So yeah, I expect that the Switch's successor will be announced by January at the soonest. Maybe February, maybe even March. By the end of the calendar year, not happening. That's just a speculation, though. I mean, Nintendo just recently shadow dropped Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, which is to come out in March in the upcoming year, and that's proof that the Switch successor is not going to be announced. Finger to you, slime, finger to you. Nintendo recently shadow dropped Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition, which is to be coming out in, March. And that's proof that the Switch successor is not going to be announced by the end of the calendar year. You also got Pokemon Legends ZA and Metroid Prime 4, which are to come out in a later date within the year. So, you know, if they have a lot of games yet to come out for the Switch that's currently out, why would they push the announcement of the successor? It just makes no sense whatsoever. So, those that are greedy get bit in the rear. Alright? You have to have patience in terms of stuff like this. You have to have patience, period, as a whole. Yeah. So... The NES version of the Tower of Druaga is not abysmal like the NES versions of a lot of the other arcade games, because of Namco Museum Archives, you know. Though I do much prefer the original arcade version. So... The spellcasters in this game are a nuisance at best. Believe me. Awful! I break a wall, and the sorcerer ambushes me at that moment. You have to be extra careful of the spellcasters in particular. They kill you where you're not expecting them. Payback. This is as far as I'm going to play in this video. I did a long play of all 10 of the arcade games on this compilation in their own videos in the past anyway. So if you want to see any full games of the ones that actually have an ending, you can check those out on my Namco Arcade playlist. Scratchy nose. Allergies. Allergies that run in my family, I should add. So, here's Sky Kid. I complained about how bad the NES version of this game is in Namco Museum Archives, because Red Baron moves a lot slower in the NES version, and maneuvering the enemies is about unbearable. So, dang it. Well. You're not required to bomb the targets designated in order to progress. How many completed missions you do in a playthrough just shows up on your high score on the local leaderboard, if you do. So, bragging rights, essentially. Yeah, that's fair. That's real fair. Cornering me up there and having the enemy fly right into me. I go from being a tad early to being a tad late. Well, you know. Can I successfully bomb at least one target before I progress, please? Focus, focus. Yes! Got that one. I'm satisfied now. The NES version of Sky Kid is a little bit different from the arcade version in terms of stage placement, and has a few elements like storm cloud birds that were specifically in Sky Kid Deluxe. It's just how slow your plane moves in the NES version of the game detracts from the fun of playing it severely. So, Sky Kid Deluxe will be played in the Arcade Archive showcase I have planned up ahead as well. So, for now, here's Rolling Thunder. The NES version of Rolling Thunder is awful to play through. The Geldra grunts that have guns in the NES version shoot as soon as you come to their level, instead of halting a bit to draw their weapon, like in the arcade version. There are also some parts of some of the stages in the NES where you have to jump to a certain part with absolute precision or you die. So... yeah, I'll take the arcade version over the NES version of this game any day. Nice try. Almost cornered me. Ah. Oh well. Just ran out of machine gun ammo. There! I beat the first stage without dying. Fantastic. We got Leela running away from one of the grunts. Right then. Wait for the grenade. There we go. Machine gun. I'll just go for it from here. There is a glitch in this game where if you back away from a machine gun door enough and come back to it, you can use it again. Blood maple. Did I miss that jump? I'd never miss that jump. Now that's embarrassing. Oh well. They say posting bad videos on YouTube can actually help your channel, so... dang it. Well, at least I'm not playing the NES version, where the Geldra grunts can hit you while you're on the stairs, while they're not. Plus, I can jump down these railings. So, you know. Alright, let's move on to the next game, shall we? Galaga 88, my favorite Galaga game. Let's do this. I love Galaga 88. This Galaga game in particular is super fun. So... I love how they added the triple fighter in this game. And these combination bugs as well. I'm being careful which Galaga to shoot out so I can get the Dimension Warp Crystal. There we go. Here we go. That one's easier than the challenging stage in Galaga, though. I guess the triple fighter kind of doesn't help. With the exception of the second dimension, warping dimensions in this game is actually optional. It's just, wow. It's just, the further dimension you go, wow. Now that's awful. The further you go in the dimensions, you get a different ending. I explained that in my Galaga 88 long play. That I already did. Alright, next up we got the most vulgar game in the set, Splatterhouse. This game is not for the faint of heart. It's bloody and gory, it's got disturbing images, and it is not by any means for young kids. Just a fair warning before we go any further. For anybody that's not familiar with the game, I mean. So, here we go. Got like a Jason Voorhees like character being guided by a mask, cutting their heads off with a cleaver. I always wait for the acid puddles to disappear before I try to jump them, because I can't really jump over them without taking damage. Definitely not on command. The game's called Splatterhouse for a reason. Just so you know. Doesn't matter. Just go nowhere. And face these leech-like enemies. Some people go into the very side to make this boss seem easier. And despite my best efforts, I still couldn't avoid taking a hit. It was the only hit I took during the stage, though, so that's fine. Remember, there's a jump scare at the end, with one more enemy. There. Alright, moving forward. Gotta wait for the acid, because I suck at jumping those. Just throwing a wrench at somebody. So much green blood. Alright, so now we go into the flooded cellar. I never found this part to be much trouble. This game's not really that hard, in my opinion. Stage 6 is utterly annoying, though. Other than that, the game's not that hard. It just takes memorization, as games go. This stage's boss can be a little tricky, though. First of all, you gotta avoid the candles. And randomly falling cans. Now we're gonna fight the chair. My alignment's very bad. Very bad. Then knives. Punching or kicking a knife. Yeah, that's a really good idea. And then the painting. Wow. Get out of the way of the chandelier. Because it kills you if you're underneath it. And yeah. Right, so that's Splatterhouse. That's as far as I'll do in this video. Next up, we got my favorite game in this compilation, Tank Force. A sequel to Tank Battalion. Alright, so, here we go. Tank Force has the option to co-op play, if you want to play alongside a friend. So, yeah. Gotta get that cannon upgrade. I'll probably do a whole long play of Battle City at some point as well. Battle City is, a Famicom game that was actually, like, the first real sequel to Tank Battalion. So Tank Force is, like, the third entry in the franchise. That I know. And like Tank Force, Battle City can be pretty fun to play. It's in the second set of Namco Museum Archives, and the arcade version of it is also on Arcade Archives. So. Yeah, I'll probably do Battle City as well at some point, since I did Splatterhouse 1 Pocket Graffiti. Even though I said before I'm not a fan of the NES versions of the arcade games, their actual sequels and prequels are pretty enjoyable, some of them. And then for whatever reason, one of the compilations has a game by Falcom and a game by Game Freak. So. Not sure what the dealio with that is. Give me that bomber. Yes. That small power-up could be useful. Unfortunately, I didn't approach it right, and I was taken by the fast tank. So, yeah. There goes my upgraded firepower, which is not convenient for a boss, which is next. Every 4th stage in this game is a boss, so you know. Why did I ever fall for that? Stopwatch, that could be useful. I probably shouldn't have gone for the boss trolley, because destroying one of them increases the maximum number of non-boss enemies that can appear at once, essentially putting your headquarters in danger. And if your headquarters gets destroyed, it's an automatic game over, regardless of your remaining lives. Same as with Tank Battalion and Battle City. It's never a good idea to face the tanks directly, cause you're asking for getting shot if you do. No, you come here. I'm not stupid. At least I got a firepower upgrade. Alright, strictly between you and me now. So I survived. And that's all I'm gonna play at the game for this video. Now we get to play my least favorite game in this compilation. Well, it's not a bad game, it's definitely not a game I prefer to play to others because of skill issues. I have heard that the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, depending on where you live, version of this game is better, and I've seen it on YouTube and other people's videos. So if it should ever come to the NSO Sega Genesis app, I'll check it out. Not sure if it will. The Sega Genesis version does have some secrets, like doors that are unlabeled, giving you, like, your hit points back and stuff. There are also additional bosses, and Gimdo, the final boss in the game, plays differently. Kind of like Mabu does in the NES version, he has a different way of attacking. So, yeah. Well, at least I can beat the first stage without taking any damage. I had a little bit of a struggle on this stage, spoiler alert, so forgive me. Like I said, I am not good at this game by any means. While I'm decent at a lot of these arcade games because I played them a bunch, this is one I was just never good at. So, crouch shoots. I hate the ones that crouch before they shoot you. Crouch shoots. Again. I'm not falling for that again. Luckily, this game uses checkpoints instead of forcing you to go back to the beginning, unless you're in Stage 8. In Stage 8, you go back to the beginning if you die, so... Combine that with not being able to have enough ammunition before Gimdo, and you got yourself a final stage that's borderline impossible. Unless you're really good at dodging stuff. Shoot the grenade guy. There. Alright, that's enough of that torture. There is only one game left to play in this compilation, and it's the one that's not an actual arcade game. Pac-Man Versus. It was originally released on the Nintendo GameCube. I just love how the music is the Pac-Man game room theme from Namco Museum 1. Pardon me while I cut out some stupidity. Yeah. I just love how the music that plays here is the Pac-Man game room from Namco Museum 1. Alright. There are some different stages you can play. Panic Pier, Frantic Forest, Rip Park, Manic Manor, Haunted Hall, and the original Pac-Man maze. Alright, what am I doing? Right. I had a bit of a failure on the original Pac-Man maze, so I tried again on Panic Pier, where I had a better result. The original Pac-Man maze doesn't have music. The other stages play the songs from Pac-Mania, except for the last maze, which plays the retro world theme from Pac-Man Arrangement Arcade. Gotcha. I'm playing as Blanky, the red ghost, just so you know. Pac-Man Versus was originally released on the Nintendo GameCube exclusively, and is a Pac-Man game that was specifically created by none other than Shigeru Miyamoto. I explained, while talking about Pac-Land, that Pac-Land was a game that Shigeru Miyamoto really loved and inspired Super Mario Bros. NES. And he loves Pac-Man through and through. So much that he made his own Pac-Man game. So, yeah. You can play Pac-Man Versus with multiple players, where you actually control the ghosts and are trying to catch Pac-Man to get points. You're given points at the end of each round after Pac-Man is defeated by the ghosts. You also get some points for eating the fruit, and lose points if Pac-Man eats you while you're turned to blue. The player that's first to reach the target score, which you can select as well from 3 options, is the winner. I'm playing up to 7,000. If you get a bonus fruit, your peripheral vision is zoomed out so you can see more of what's going on top of getting some extra points. Pac-Man is very smart as a CPU, obviously, so you have to really read where he's going in order to catch him. And just in case you can't tell, there's even a little extra hint of Nintendo besides Shigeru Miyamoto creating this game, and that Charles Martinet is narrating the game and what's going on in it, making it sound like Mario is the narrator. Of course, Charles Martinet is not Mario's voice actor anymore. Due to old age, he simply had to retire, you understand. As of this recording, he's in his late 60s. In Super Mario Bros. Wonder, it became Kevin Afghani. This applies to Luigi, Wario, and Waluigi as well. Kevin Afghani is voicing all of those characters now. So, it'll be interesting to hear how, curse you, Pinky, curse you. It'll be interesting to hear how Kevin performs the characters' voices in the next Mario Kart, or possibly the next Smash. If he wants to reprise the if he wants to re-perform the characters' voices in Smash, I mean. So, yeah. Alright, I got cherries in front of me. Now Inky's catching them. Wow. I can't give up if I'm so close. One more catch will do it for me, where I'm at right now. Just gotta try harder. Wait to have the cherries appear over top me. And then I lose the points because Pac-Man got me. So, I just have to zoom out for now. Nice! Your directional movement could not have been worsely executed, Pac. So yeah, that's what Pac-Man Versus is like. Alright, so that was my game showcase of Namco Museum on the Nintendo Switch. While it would be interesting if they made a Nintendo Switch successor, Namco Museum, with more games, I wouldn't swear to that at all because of the arcade archives lineup. So, yeah. I'll leave you guys with Namco Museum staff credits, and I'll see you later where I do a 50-plus game showcase of the games by Namco that are on arcade archives. About 50-plus, I mean. Which I plan to do next. So, anybody that's into Namco that hasn't played all their games yet will be able to see, a basic showcase of every game currently on arcade archives, except for the non-COT Famicom ones that are currently available for purchase. So, I'll be looking forward to finalizing that video, and until my next upload, I am Crolister. Thanks for watching. I will see you in my next upload, and enjoy the staff credits. See ya. racing.